Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So look at how cute this guy is. Oh, just lost his hat. So we're gonna make a radio looking sombrero for this guy. Radio looking sombrero, so it's gonna fold up like that, so you're gonna get the underside instead of the nice clean side. So it looks like a well-used sombrero. We're gonna make a cactus. I just put him in a cute little pot from the dollar store with some filling, and I got some eyes on him, and then he's gonna have a sombrero. And I didn't attach it, so you can move it around. You can wear it straight like that. You can wear it down over the eyes like that. Anyway, we're going to do this for Cinco de Mayo. Let's get started. So, colors. I am using a Red Heart Super Saver. The color is Cafe Latte. It's a 4-weight. And it calls for a 5.5, so that is indeed what I am going to use, is a 5.5. I will put the letter on the screen. The cactus is going to be the same thing. Red Heart Super Saver. The color is Hunter Grain. It's a 4-weight. Calls for a 5.5. And the red and the yellow are just going to be these leftover balls that I have, which are the exact same thing. Red Heart Super Saver, 4-weight, calls for a 5.5. And then I am going to be using these safety eyes. And I think I just used the smallest one, so I think I just used the 6mm safety eyes. You will need a stitch marker because we are going to be working in the round. I'm going to get a brighter color than that. The yellow one. You will need a row counter if you have one. You will need a pair of scissors. And you will need a needle for sewing. So, one of these with a bent tip, because we're going to sew the arms on. So, you want to kind of get up underneath to do invisible stitches, so we're going to use this needle. Generally, I use my round needle, which if you guys are following me, you've seen before. But for this case, I'm going to show you how to do it with just a regular darning needle. So that's everything you're going to need. So we can actually really, truly begin. And we're going to start with the hat. So we are going to be building from, we're going to start at the top. This is all going to be one piece. You know how much I hate having to sew stuff on if I don't have to sew stuff on. So we're going to be starting from the top and working down. So we're going to add some color down here at the bottom. And then we're going to be changing colors frequently. Well, not frequently, but you know, you get it. So we're just going to start with a magic ring. And you're going to put 6 single crochets inside that magic ring. Pull your tail closed. So we want the top pointy. Let's manipulate this first stitch so we don't struggle getting into it. So we want the tippy top of the hat to be kind of pointy like a sombrero. So we're going to start with an increase right away. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets all the way around. So we'll put the first one in with our stitch marker. The next stitch is going to be 2 single crochets. The next stitch is going to be 1. And the last one will be 2. So you always end up with your repeat at the stitch marker. And now you can pull your tail all the way closed. So you should have a total of 9 stitches. In your next round is going to be 1 1 2 1 1 2. So we'll put our first one in with our stitch marker. The next one gets 1 single crochet, and the next one gets 2 single crochets. So that's your repeat, 1 1 2 1 1 2. I'm going to start that again because my dog distracted me. I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's 1, 1. Some days I can be so easily distracted, and other days 2, 1, 1, 2. That makes more sense. 1. Oops. 1 and 2 at your marker, and that should be a total of 12 stitches. So you can flip it over if you want to make it easy on yourself. So the next increase is going to be 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 all the way around. And at the end you should have 15. So put our 1 in. One, 1. So 1 single crochet over the course of 3 stitches, and then your increase, so 2 in the same hole. One, and at your stitch marker with the end of your repeat, which is 2 in the same hole. So rows 4 to row 8, you're just going to do 1 single crochet. So the next 4 rows is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So you should have 15 stitches, so it should go pretty quick. Alright, so I'm done my 4 rows. And we're going to do another increase row. So this one's going to be 1 single crochet over the course of 4 stitches and then your increase. So let's do stitch number 1 with your marker. This is 2, 3, and 4 stitches, and then 2 in this hole for your increase, all the way around. And 2 at the stitch marker for the end of your repeat. Alright, I just had to change my battery. So we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 18 stitches. So this is where we're going to change our color. So I am going to go with green to start, because that's what I did on the other one. I started with the green and then did red and yellow, but you can do whatever you want. So you can do this a number of different ways, whatever way you're comfortable with. If you don't have a way because you're just learning, then you can watch me. It's more difficult. Here, let me show you the easy way. So the easy way for beginners would be just to make a slip knot. Make it small enough to go on your hook. Go through your first stitch instead of grabbing the brown. This is where you're going to put this on your hook. You're going to pull that through and you're going to finish your stitch. So now you're just going to want to keep your brown for a bit so you can kind of crochet that in, and you want to just keep it at the top so you can crochet both pieces along. It just makes life way easier at the end, and you can just continue down the line and do your 18 single crochets all the way back around it can be awkward. I mean, I've been crocheting for a while and it's still awkward for me. But I do it because it saves a whole lot of time. Normally, I wouldn't cut this off, but since I'm doing a beginner-friendly video, normally I would just take it around with me through all the colors because I'm going back to it, but because this video is beginner-friendly, I will show you. So we've come full circle, and yeah, it's going to be offset like that because we're working in the spiral. You can just snip this off and we'll come back to it. Because right now, you can do a couple of rows of these if you want. You don't have to do what I'm doing. So I did red next. So you can do the same thing. You just make a slip knot. Make it small enough to go over your hook. Let's do this in the right order. Go through your stitch. Get your red on there. And now you can pull through. And pull through. You just tighten the green, tighten everything up. Make sure you have the red tail and the green now. And just crochet 18 around. Like I said, awkward. But it's going to be hard to tuck it in after because it's such a small space. So I'm done with my tail. I'm just taking the green around with me now. So this just kind of secures it so you know it's not going to unravel. So as much of a pain in the butt it is, at the end of the day, you know your work is secured. It's not going anywhere. So, back around. I'm just going to put one more in. Pull tight. Snip off the green. And get our yellow. We can do the same thing. Make a slip knot. So once you do this for a bit, oh, my two balls are going to get tangled. So once you do this for a bit, it does get easier. Because you do get used to how you gotta hold your face to do this. Pull everything tight. Make sure you've got your red and your yellow up here to crochet in. And 18 stitches. So I'm just going to stick my marker in there. I'm going to snip off the red. So as you can see, when I did this hat, the yellow isn't really prevalent. So I'm going to do one more row of the yellow before I switch back to brown. So we'll see how that works. Just added it to my computer. I've got, when I do stuff, when I design things, I put it all in my little iPad so I can remember. So let's just do one more with the yellow. 18 stitches around. And then we'll go back to the brown for a bit. So that will make your top a little bit bigger, but not by much. It's just single crochets, so. So we're going to go back to the brown. So we're going to do it the same way. Take your stitch marker out. So with the brown, this row is, we're going to be doing another increase. So this next row is going to be 2 stitches each in the same hole around. So to switch our colors, obviously we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. So put your brown on, pull that slip knot tight, come through your stitch and then do a stitch. And again, you're going to take your 2 colors around, your brown tail and your yellow. But before you do that, this first stitch is going to get a stitch marker. And then you're going to go into the same stitch and put another single crochet. And you're going to continue to do 2 in each hole all the way around. You should have 36 when you're done. So it is going to get busy. You're going to have a lot going on these stitches, but I think once you've come almost all the way around, you can probably snip off the yellow and be done with that. So you've taken it the majority of the way around. So we've come back around. We're going to continue with our increases. So this next row is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So there's 1. One and then 2. So 1, 1, 2 all the way around. And it is squishy, so be careful not to miss any stitches. But it's going to be easy not to, or easy to do, because it is pretty squishy. See, I just about screwed up. I was supposed to go back into that same stitch for 2 times. Don't be afraid to pull your work apart. It will go back to shape. I'd rather do that than screw up and have to pull my work out. Well, I screwed up because my repeat did not end at my marker. So I'm just going to take my marker out and put my 2 stitches in here. I'm a stitch short, so I've obviously missed one or did something wrong, but it's not a huge big deal. Which is fine because your next row is going to be simple single crochet all the way around. So if you have to add any or take any away, this is where you can fix it. It's not going to be noticeable. So to take any away, you're just going to do, you'll just have to single crochet 2 together. I need to add 1. So we're going to keep increasing, which is horrible, I know, because it's getting so skinny, but we need a bigger sombrero part. That was a bad accent, but So our next increase is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. And I didn't write how many stitches down for this, so I'll figure it out. So we'll start with number 1. So that's 2 and that's 3 single crochets, and then your increase, so 2 in the same hole. So 3 single crochets over the course of 3 stitches, and then your increase, 2 single crochets in the same hole. So I don't know how many around. It doesn't really matter how many you have around. You can't really screw this up. Beginner friendly. So we're going to do one more increase, and it's going to be 4 single crochets. So over the course of 4 stitches, 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then your increase, 2 single crochets in the next stitch after. So we'll do our 1. This is our final increase, I promise. One, and 1. So that's 4 stitches, 4 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 in the same hole. Oh, I have an extra stitch, so I'm just going to put a single crochet. Like I said, you can't really screw this up. So our final increase, like I promised, we are going to start switching colors again. So I'm going to do my green, because that's the order I did on the hat part. And I'm super glad that we did the other row of yellow too. That looks way better than the first one I did. Looks way better. Let's find one more. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So, oh yeah, we're doing this old school. So, I'm going to switch to green. So you can just do your slip knot. Go into the stitch, attach your green guy, make sure it's tight, went through, then complete the stitch. Make sure you got your brown and your green, 2 single crochet in. Now it's squishy. So try not to skip any stitches, and all you're going to do is single crochet all the way around with the green. So try to hit all your stitches. I know it's going to be tough because it is squishy, and then you're trying to hold the 2 pieces, and so I get it. But it looks really cool at the end. End of all this sacrifice you make. And you don't have to carry it all the way around. So I'm just going to carry the brown a little bit further. And don't worry about how many stitches around you gotta go. Doesn't matter, you're just making a sombrero. And it's supposed to look like a ratty old sombrero. Okie dokie. So, what's the next color? I did red after that. So, with the red, again, you're just going to make a slip knot. And go through your stitch. Attach your red. Pull it tight. Get a hold of the green here. Come through, make your stitch. So, with the red, we're going to do 5 single crochets and then we're going to crochet 2 together. So we're going to start decreasing. So that's our first stitch. And 2 together. And repeat. 5 single crochets. And 2 together. So you're going to notice it's going to start curling up. I'm going to cut the green off. So you're going to notice it's going to start curling up. And that is good. That's what we want. So I ended off there just on my 5 stitches instead of the 2 together, so I think I'm just going to do these last 2 together. So, yellow. So with the yellow, I'm still going to decrease another row. And it's going to be, I'm going to put my yellow over there. And it is going to be 4 single crochets and then 2 together. So that's how I did the other one. So I'm going to the next stitch, touch my yellow, pull tight, so I'm going to pull through, make my stitch, pull everything tight, make sure I'm carrying my red and my yellow. So I'm going to do 4 single crochets, a bit of a pull, and then 2 together. All the way around. As we are done, this is our sombrero. So I'm just going to go into the next stitch and I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to pull tight and then I'm going to fasten off. Like a knot. I'm actually going to hide him on the good side because the other side, the good side, you know what I mean, the nice and neat side, because the other side is what I want showing. So it looks like a ratty old sombrero, you know, some old Mexican's been wearing for years. So we'll just snip him off. And there you have it. You can just probably stick your needle down here, get a hold of that guy. If you can find it. There he is. You can pull him tight. And then you can weave him wherever. You don't really have to weave him far. Magic circles don't generally come back up undone. They're usually pretty tight once you've pulled it closed. So once you have your sombrero done, you can snip off. I don't even know what the heck happened there. Not sure what's going on with this guy, but snip off your excesses that are just kind of hanging out. And another yellow one. Just where you've weaved in and then you've not done anything with it. Try to get it cleaned up a bit, even though it's supposed to look ratty. So there's your sombrero for your dude. Alrighty, let's get to the cactus part. Still going to use the 5.5 hook and a stitch marker. So you're going to make another magic ring. And you're going to put 6 single crochets into the center. And pull your tail. You don't have to pull it all the way. So you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around for a total of 12 stitches. So after your first one, you're going to put your stitch marker. I'm going to turn the lighting up a little bit, so hopefully you can see this better. So 2 in each hole for a total of 12. Now you can pull your tail tight. So we're going to continue to increase. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, your stitch marker, 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So this is going to be your repeat all the way around. So the next stitch is going to get 1, and the next stitch is going to get 2. So that's your repeat all the way around, and at the end you should have a total of 18 stitches. Next row is another increase. You're going to go 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 all the way around. That's your repeat, and at the end you should have a total of 24 stitches. So first one goes in with our stitch marker. This gets a single crochet, and then your increase, so 2 in this hole. So, easy peasy part. Here we're going to single crochet all the way around, 24 stitches, for the next 23 rows. So this is where this is going to come in handy. So I'm going to do some with you, but then obviously I'm going to go to the pause screen and then meet you back here. It should go pretty quick for 24 stitches. And so I'll do some, and then we'll go to the pause screen, and you can pause it there, and I'll have the details up there for you. So 1 single crochet in each stitch of your 24 stitches for 23 rows. And then we are actually going to switch colors, because actually we don't have to switch colors. I'll tell you what, this is sitting in here, but I actually put brown on the bottom in case you didn't want it sitting in a bucket like mine's in a bucket. But if you didn't want it sitting in a bucket, I put brown on the bottom. So but you don't have to do that part. So mine's just sitting in a bucket because that's what I wanted. Because even though he stands up on his own, he was still falling all the time. Anyway, so back to our 1 single crochet. So I'll see you back here after our 23 rows. Alright, so I got my 23 rows done. So we had done 3 rows prior to that. So you should have 26 rows all together, and it should look something like this. So we're going to switch to brown. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. So get your brown color, and we'll attach it the easy way, the old school way. So just go through your next stitch, attach your color, hold tight, come through the stitch, and then complete the stitch. So with your brown tail and your green from before, we're just going to do a single crochet around in every stitch. And you should have 24 all the way around. You can cut your green off now. So you can cut your green off. So in the next row with the brown, we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch brown. So that should give you 48. So we're just increasing a little bit. Alrighty, so since we've come back around, I'm just gonna put my stitch marker in there. So in the back loops only, which are these guys, standing at attention, so we don't have to go looking for them, they're right there. You're gonna do 5 single crochets and then 2 together, working in the back loops only. Doesn't matter. So the next round you're going to do 4 single crochets, and this time there's going to be through both stitches. It's not going to be back loops, it's going to be the full stitch. So 4 single crochets and then 2 together. So the next round is going to be 3 single crochets and then 2 together. Like I said, you don't have to do this part. It's just the dirt, and even though mine's sitting in a little basket, I did it because initially I wanted this to kind of stand on its own, but it stands, just not very long. If somebody was to bump into the table, or you know, just my dog running into the room was knocking it over, so I thought, well, I'll put it in a little can and decorate it up. As long as it's standing upright for Cinco de Mayo. So the next round is going to be 2 together, or 2 single crochets and 2 together. So we're just going down step by step. So 2 single crochets and then 2 together. Oh, I can't squeeze in my last togetherness, so I'm just going to remove my marker. Stick it back in there. So now we're going to do single crochet and one together. This is my one single crochet, and then two together. I just said that backwards, didn't I? You know what I mean. So single crochet one, and then two together. Single crochet one, two together. Remember to pull tight. Before we go any further, I say sew a lot, don't I? Get some polyfill and stuff this guy. Well, before we stuff him, actually, if you wanted to put eyeballs on him, I did those small eyes. I forgot about that. To just make sure your end that you're using is all pulled out. So with the other one, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So between the 8th and 9th row, I did on the other ones. One there, and I did 5 apart. Yeah. Now I'm doing this the hard way. Oh my good lord, that was more difficult than it needed to be. That was my fault. I shouldn't have done that. So his eyes aren't going to be very noticeable. And that's kind of the whole point. Right? Because it's a cactus. Just going to make sure there's no lumpy bumpy parts. A little bit more. So the bottom should look like this. There was a reason we did the back loops only. So the bottom should get stuffed fairly decently. So I'm going to close it up a bit, and then I might stick a little bit more in there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it closes. So for this one, all you're going to do is do 2 together 8 times around, and then we'll sew the rest of it. Seven, and the last one is 8. So I might actually need more stuffing. A little bit more I can shove down into that hole. It just doesn't feel right to me. You can fasten off with a tail. Doesn't have to be that long of a tail. We are just going to sew the rest of this shut. So I'm going to go in that stitch, and then in this stitch, and then in this stitch, in this stitch. So I'm going to kind of weave the stitches around. Then I'm going to come in this one and this one. And now I'm back around to my knot. So now I'm just going to pull that shut. It will stand up on its own for a bit until somebody moves, and then it falls over. So that's why I chose to put it into a pot. This guy is bigger than the original one that I showed you. I built him with a number 5 hook, and I did this guy with a number 4 hook. And it's the exact same yarn, it's just a different color. But I just used 2 different hooks. So if you prefer this size, then use a number 4. But I went a little bit bigger and made this guy with a 5.5, excuse me. So it's all up to you. The size, obviously, can be controlled by the size of your hook. So now that this is all together, I'm just going to weave my end in and out and around and through and all sorts of stuff, just so he doesn't come undone. And I'm going to go in all kinds of different directions. Mine's going to be sitting in a pot, but if yours is not going to be sitting in a pot, then obviously you're going to want a little more you know, weaving to make sure it doesn't come open. So we just got to do the arms now. So the arms are really easy and quick. Again, for the smaller one, you can use a 4. For the larger one, I'm using a 5.5. And you're going to make a magic circle. So we want these arms to bend. So put 6 single crochets into the center. And you can pull shut. You're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. It's your stitch marker. After the first stitch, but do 2 in each stitch around for a total of 12. Pull your middle closed. So you're just going to single crochet for the next 8 rows. For a total of 12 stitches around. And I will meet you back here, if I can get into the stitch. I will meet you back here after we've done our 8 rows. Should be pretty quick. Okay, I've done my 8 rows, so you should have 9 altogether. So starting with your first spiral count on this side of the marker, and that's 9. So I've already taken my marker out and did my first single crochet. But this one you're going to do 4 single crochets and 2 together all the way around. So I've already done my 1 and put my marker in. So that's 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 together. That's going to be a repeat all the way around. I think you do it a couple of times. And then if you have an extra one, you can just... I'm not sure how I got an extra one. Today is not my day. I keep getting extra stitches. No big deal. So that's the only decrease we're doing. So this last round is just going to be 1 single crochet all the way around, and you can fasten off with a tail for sewing. And then I'll show you what we're going to do to make the arm bend. So you can fasten off, just go into the next stitch, slip stitch, fasten off with the tail, pull through, tighten your knot, go through the next stitch. You can grab that, pull it through. And as far as this guy, this thing's getting stuffed and something else done to it, so you can just stick him on the inside. Alright, so you're going to need some pipe cleaners. So mine are quite thin, and they don't quite hold that well, but you only need a little bit for the bending part. So I do this a couple of times. I'm going to leave that like that. So that goes in there so we can bend it and it stays. Get a little bit of stuffing. So we just put a little bit of stuffing all the way around the pipe cleaner. So the end of my pipe cleaner is right there. So now it's kind of in the middle. I just put all that stuffing around the pipe cleaner. You don't want to put too much because then your arm won't bend like it's supposed to and stay like that. So don't put too much stuffing or it's just going to keep pushing it down. But you want enough that it's not going to collapse. So just figure out where you want this guy. You can change directions of his bend. So it doesn't have to stay the way, like if I put him on like that and get him a little sideways, I can still change the way it bends. So I'm going to go down really close to where I want the arm and come up into that stitch. And that's what I'm going to do all the way around, is I'm going to come down as close as I can to the arm And I'm just going to come up into that stitch. So when I pull, it kind of goes up underneath, and then it's just going to look, well, it's supposed to be an invisible stitch, right? So stick something down there to hold this arm in place a little bit. Kind of moving around and bugging me. So again, I'm just going to come down and up into that stitch. Make sure my needle is the right way. So you've really just got to make sure you are coming down into the body. And try to hit every stitch so that you keep the shape. So you want this to look just like crochet stitches on the bottom and not actual sewing stitches. So doing it this way will give that impression that it's just been crocheted and not sewn. So that's why it's called invisible stitches. So you're going to have to manipulate it a little bit just to get up and under into the stitch if you got a needle like mine. And my other needle that I usually use is way better, but I know not everybody has a needle like that, so I'm just trying to show how you do it with a needle, with a darning needle. So you really just gotta try to figure out how you're gonna maneuver that around. So once you've got it on there, you can move your stuffing around. I'm gonna just push the stuffing down in there, and then bend the pipe cleaner like that. That might be a little low, but I can put my other one up higher too. So I'm just gonna finish to come around. So I tack this all down. I don't want any of it moving around. So once you've got it all sewn on like you want it, you just go down and pop out somewhere. We're just going to weave our end in. You can just keep going if you can and leave that on the inside if you want, but so once you get it sewn on, I'm just going to try to move my stuffing back down to that part. Then you can just shape your arm with your pipe cleaner just like that. So when I do the other one, I might put it up a little higher, because that's what I did on my other one. It just looked better that way. So and go ahead and make your other arm. I'll put the pause screen up and the directions, the pattern for the other arm, and I'll meet you right back here and we'll do the whole pipe cleaner thing together and stuff. I'll meet you right back here after. come up a little bit higher than the other one. And I might bring it forward a little bit because this one's kind of at the back too far, in my opinion. So I'll bring him up to there, I think. So it's a crude way to pin it, but I'm sure you can find a different. And now see, the pin's just in my way. I'm just gonna hold it and hope that I don't. It's always harder to sew the second one on. Because of the other one's there. So I'm just going to try to get it done quickly. Tacked on at least. I got him too far forward and got him too far back. But hopefully yours came out better. You know where you want your arms. So I'm just going to put him down in here, and then I'm just going to pop out somewhere to weave my end in and go in another direction. And another direction. So 3 times is generally okay. So he's pretty funny looking because I got him crooked. But well, that's for the small guy. Let me put the bigger one on for this guy. I know it's very hard to see. Anyway, you can see the picture at the back. So I'm gonna put him into a can, and you can do stuffing or no stuffing. You can play with his sombrero any way you like it. Stuff, you can put your grass in there if you want, but depending on the size of a can or a pot, they didn't have any pots, that's why I went and got cans. But ultimately I wanted him in a little flower pot that you can get from the dollar store, but they didn't have any, so I got stuck with cans. That's why I'm using cans. But so yeah, I have grass. I'm not sure where it is right now, but I've got this grass stuff. They only had white. They didn't have brown, which is what I wanted. But they didn't have anything at dollar store. You know, we got a pandemic going on and everyone's got to panic buy everything. So I'm stuck with what I'm stuck with. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.